Yeah, thanks for coming. A couple opening comments from Coach, and we'll take your questions. And a reminder, no live streaming. Thanks.
Yeah, we're looking forward to going outside today for our 5th practice, but we got some lightning stuff that forced us inside. But we got to go outside for about half of it, which was good. Our hopes was to have another hot day today, but it didn't play out that way. It was kind of cool outside, nice and breezy, and guys did well, pushed through it. It was easier today because of the cooler temperatures. I really feel like we've had really 3 good padded practices, which we're going to have off tomorrow due to the new rules of giving the players a day off. So I'm excited. I want to get to the scrimmage Saturday to make judgments on some of these kids because a lot of them are swimming as far as mentally, but that's to be expected. It's not like it's unexpected. There's some really good competitors out there. There's some guys in the young group that are really competing hard. Some leaders are starting to show up. We've had some good leaders, I think. The biggest concern I got is that the best players play the best, and that probably hadn't happened so far in camp. We got some guys that I consider to be really good players that aren't playing up to their potential, but we've also got a lot of players who were 2s and 3s last year that I think are playing pretty well. So we got some good competition going on out there, and I'm excited about that.
When you say some of the players maybe aren't living up to the fight, how do you expect to play that? Complacency or something?
I don't know. You call it what it is, but I know as I look out there, there's a couple guys that you would say, okay, this is the guy that maybe played really well last year, and he's not playing to the level that I think he can play to, and that's probably one of the scariest things that could happen to our team. But the good news is, in a lot of those positions, there's a guy just as talented behind him that's scratching and clawing, or maybe just got here and is fighting for playing time, and that excites me because they're really eager to learn and they're fighting to learn. Where sometimes you get a casual nature about you if you think you know everything or you think you kind of understand everything. So we've had to have some talks about that with some guys.
Is that on one side of the ball? Or the
no,
other?
no, it's been across the board pretty balanced where it's been. It hasn't been a lot, just a few guys. You got to think about it. There's only a few spots where you could say, well, that guy's a pretty solid starter. Well, some of those guys aren't living up to the They're not practicing the right way, and we've done as much as we can to encourage them to practice better because the competition level that's out there is way more increased. It's more tense. There's more good players across the board. Now, a lot of them don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing, and they got to figure that out. But they flash, which in the time I've been coaching, what you see is flashes. When you see a guy flash, you say he's got it in him if he knows what to do. We just got to coach him up to the point where we make it simple enough that the best players can play.
Are you doing as much, I know some guys are, but as much cross-training on the offensive line maybe you've done the first 2 years here?
Yeah, we got a lot of different rotations. By period, we change guys on fields. Got tackles playing guard playing tackles. Certainly some of our guards we don't feel can play tackle. But we've got some guards switching and going out. I mean, I don't think you guys get to see all those combinations. So there's a lot of combinations going on in there to find the best depth we can find.
Coach, speaking of the rotation, I want to ask you about the defensive line. With Coach Scott and the work he does to kind of bring players in and out constantly, whether it be in the practice or games, how does that kind of correlate with the depth y'all have on the line there to kind of help out?
Yeah, I think any defensive line in the SEC has to play a lot of guys. You have to be able to play a lot of players in the defensive line. They get wore down. They're second effort players. They cover down. They run so much more than offensive linemen. So to be able to switch those guys out, a lot of them are playing double teams. I think it helps. I don't know yet who those people are that are going to be our 8 or 9 we rotate in. There's some really good competition there. Obviously, Tyler is going to be a guy that's played a lot of football for us. Julian's played a lot of football for us. Jay Hayes is a guy that has picked everything up mentally, led better. But kind of after those core guys, what you got is a group of guys that are fighting for those rotations. And I think that the fastball world we live in, you better be able to get guys in and out of the game.
Right after the last game, your message was, Georgia football is kind of here to stay. And it seems like that's a theme that you've continued since then. How do you think this group of guys has taken to that theme, I guess?
Yeah, I don't know that they look at it as what I said or that message from that game. I think they bought into the fact that if they do things the right way, they'll have success. And the biggest thing we've preached to these guys is that the whole pressure is privilege. I mean, it is a privilege. I mean, it's not Superman's fault if he can fly and he doesn't take advantage of it. My whole point is you have an advantage. Your advantage is you're a really good player. Use all your skill set. So if Superman can fly, I say fly. That's an advantage he has, right? So our guys, if they can play here, we should play here. We shouldn't play down to here in practice and then try to go up. So the standard's been set to where we should go. So the expectation is if you're whoever, Jonathan Ledbetter, Jake Fromm, it doesn't matter who you play to the level that you need to play to make yourself better, and the rest to take care of itself. And that's what last year's team did. They really practiced the same way they played the game. And I think that's hard to find because so many people want to take it off, take it easy, and you can't do that.
I know it's a broad question, but what are the elements that go into sustaining success now that you're there?
Well, the biggest thing is that everybody understands that it's not going to come because of what you did in the past. So this year's completely independent of the previous. We got to go out there and practice the right way. We got to develop talent. We got to be able to avoid injuries. And if we have injuries, do we have backups prepared to come in and fight and compete? And that's what camp's about. Camp's about toughness, physical, striking people. You may have some injuries in camp, but we got to find out kind of what the makeup of this team is. And we're still really early in that process.
You mentioned the pressure privilege. Just to follow up on that, I don't know. Did you see where Chase Elliott credited you? And then also, I guess I'd ask you, where did that phrase first buzz through your mind?
It came through. Billie Jean King said it and talked about it a long time ago. And probably should have gave her credit at the SEC Media Days, but I wasn't thinking about it then. Certainly a great statement that's so true that it really is a privilege. And she told Sharapova that, and we even showed the players a tape of that, and that message is always there. So you can choose to be one of two things. You can say you're the underdog, or you can say that feeling the pressure is a privilege, and it really is a privilege. And I would much rather be in that situation.
And then to follow up, I mean, you played at Joe. I don't know if you're a NASCAR fan or did you know much about the Elliott family or ever met Bill or?
No, I have not, but I obviously follow him now. I think it's pretty cool, and I know he's been to some events. He's been to some of our games. I actually have plans to reach out to him and thank him for kind of sharing our message and being a dog fan. But we sent him a jersey last year and fired up to see his career. He's had a lot of close finishes, and now for him to push it over the top, that's what we're trying to do as well.
You mentioned guys swimming, but I remember this time last year, Walter Grant was a guy who kind of jumped off the page early on in his freshman campaign. Are there any of these freshmen who've caught on in a similar way as he did?
I wouldn't say Walter caught on this early. He did well in camp, but it wasn't the fourth or fifth day. A lot of the kids are in the same boat Walter was in, where Walter naturally understood some things. He was really well coached in high school, and he kind of grasped a lot of the knowledge that we were able to try to impart on him. There's a lot of freshmen out there right now that have done some good things. I'm excited about what they're doing, but they've got to do it more consistently, just like Walter did this time last year.
Was Godwin all the way back today?
No, he's not all the way back. I think he did maybe some Indy drills, but no, I think that's about all he was able to do today is maybe when y'all were there. He tried to push through Indy. We're trying to get a little more out of him each day. So if I'm not mistaken, he only did period 2 and 3, and that may have been the time y'all were there. So he's still trying to push through. We think he's going to be fine, but it's a deal where he's got to be able to build up stamina. And he hasn't been able to get in shape because of the injury.
Coach, I wanted to follow up on your comments about Samir White from last week. I mean, as he's kind of come back from this injury and done it so quickly, I mean, what does that show you about the progress he's made? Like, did it surprise you that everything's been done as quickly as that?
Well, I don't know that in this day and age you would say as quickly. I kind of think that he's like on schedule, a little ahead of schedule. Okay, so it's not like I mean, he got injured last year in the football season, so it's not a miracle that he's back going. Now, he is pretty special when it comes to rehab, buying in, doing wrestling, doing karate. He does all these extra things very similar to what Nick did. So that part, his effort and all his work he's done is incredible. But I don't think where he's at, I think if you asked him, he would want to take the knee brace off. And he could take the knee brace off in practice, but it's precautionary. It's to get him more comfortable, and it's a little rigid, and it's not comfortable for him. So, I mean, he's not out there feeling like he's his old self yet, if that's what you're asking. But he is cleared, and he's safe to practice. He just doesn't like having that knee brace on.
When we talked with Mel on Saturday, he was talking about Richard LeCount, and I know that was a guy that you challenged back in the spring of doing what it took to be great. Said Richard's arrows kind of pointing up. Have you kind of seen that during camp? Have you kind of seen him kind of make a little bit of a move in the right direction the way you wanted him to?
Which time? His arrows up, then his arrows down, then his arrows up, then his arrows down. He makes some of the greatest plays I've ever seen. And then he makes some of the most bonehead plays. So there's not a level of consistency there. And y'all are all going to take that and write all these bad stories about Richard and say I said something bad about Richard. I love Richard. Richard's one of my favorite players to coach. And y'all say, well, man, Coach Smart's just attacking Richard. That's not the case. I think Richard loves to practice. He loves football as much as anybody out there. But he has to do things consistently in order to be successful. And right now, he's not doing things consistently. Has he made some phenomenal plays? Yes. Is he talented? Yes. But we have to play within a system. You have to play with discipline. You have to do your job. If your job is to play the half, you got to play the half. And that's what we're working with Richard on.
Coach, you weren't in. I'm sorry, you weren't in pads. You had on Saturday, but it was hard not to notice James Cook's just movement and that kind of thing. Is that translating? And are you seeing?
Well, I would say that day was a little special. I mean, when we go back, we might watch the tape of that practice. He had a lot of balls. It just happened that way. It wasn't like it was by design. Hey, this is going to be James Cook feature day. I mean, he had some plays that he hit, and he looked really good, and he had really good GPS numbers. So, I mean, I felt like you did, but I can't say that's been every practice. It hasn't stuck out like that. But that practice, if you just had that practice to go off of, which y'all do, I could see that because he had really good practice. He's an exciting player. He loves football. He's tough. He's not afraid to compete with anybody at 185 pounds. I really like watching the guy play, but to say that he's more ready than any of those other backs, that's a long stretch because he's got a long way to go.
Two more questions.
You mentioned in the spring there were times that like play would be made that you would say, oh, Roquan used to make that play.
Yeah.
Where are you all with that now? And how much does, when you take out one guy that was kind of a game changer by himself, change the identity of the defense?
You know, I don't know how to answer the second question because I think the identity is created by the people in the room. He's obviously not in the room. But I try not to look at plays because you can't live in the past. I mean, there's a bunch of plays out there that he'd have made that nobody's made because there's nobody in his Roquan. They're different, you know what I mean? So we're not going to have a guy that's a first-round pick and inside backer. That's just not going to happen for us this year. But we got a lot of other guys around him that are experienced. We got good outside backers. We got good safeties that are playing if they play smart. We got good front guys. So we're not really dwelling in what Roquan would have done on that play. We can't live in that world. I mean, obviously we've got to grow and try to find the right guys, especially fast guys, because that's the one thing Roquan was. He was fast. He could erase mistakes. You know, and we're probably not as fast at that position. But by committee, we still have a good inside linebacker room. It's just not, we don't have that one outlier that was so fast.
Kirby,
Does that answer your question at all?
regarding the punters, is Marshall Long just not on the 110, or what's his status? And with Jake and Landon, how are they looking so far?
Yeah, Marshall is not completely healed. I mean, he felt like he was back right before the end of the summer, but didn't feel like he was quite 100%. And we got two 100% punters versus a guy that's a little bit injured. So it's really, I think, 7 or 8 practices before school starts, and then Marshall will be back with us the Monday whenever school starts, the 13th. So the other two guys have been kind of neck and neck by the numbers. They're both competing. Op times are good, hang times are good, distance has been pretty good. I would venture to say I'd like to see a little more consistency, but it's still young. The camp is young, so we got to see how those guys grow and kind of where they go. Thanks, guys.